January 13th, 2006, 300 armed officers surrounded a single bank in Buenos Aires. $19 million waited inside the vault. 6 men had a plan so genius that police would spend years trying to understand what happened. Their weapons were toys. Their strategy was pizza. Their escape route ran beneath everyone's feet. What unfolded that day became the most genius bank heist of all time. How did they pull it off? December 2003. Fernando Araujo sits alone in his Buenos Aires apartment, flipping through old newspaper clippings. These papers show images from the Ramallo bank disaster back in 1999. During that tragedy, police stormed a bank and ended up killing 2 hostages on live television. The whole country watched in horror. Most people look at those images and see a nightmare. Fernando sees something entirely different. He sees possibility. He grabs a napkin and starts sketching. What if a group of robbers could simply disappear from inside a bank that's completely surrounded? What if they could vanish like magicians? He calls up his childhood friend Sebastian Garcia Bolster. Sebastian runs a motorcycle repair shop outside the city. His hands are covered in scars from years of welding. This man can build absolutely anything. His family also lost 80,000 pesos when Argentina's banks collapsed back in 2001. Their entire life savings just disappeared overnight. So when Fernando shares his idea about robbing Banco Rio, Sebastian asks one simple question: how? Fernando spreads out blueprints across the workbench. Banco Rio sits in a wealthy neighborhood called Acasuso. Directly beneath this bank, storm drains connect all the way to the river. The vault extends down into the basement level. During business hours, motion sensors turn off so employees can access the safe deposit boxes. The plan is elegant in its simplicity. 2 teams will strike at the exact same moment. One team creates a hostage situation upstairs. This is pure theater designed to capture every officer's attention. Meanwhile, another team enters through underground tunnels and empties the vault. No violence and casualties, just misdirection on a massive scale. Sebastian traces his finger along the sewer lines. The tunnel would need to run 150 meters through active drainage pipes. It would need to break through 2 feet of reinforced concrete. Impossible for most people. But Sebastian has spent his entire life building impossible things. They choose Acasuso because wealthy clients stuffed their safe deposit boxes with untraceable assets after the banking collapse. Cash, gold, diamonds. Unlike serial numbered bills, these valuables are impossible to track once stolen. Fernando writes the entire operation like a movie screenplay. They need exactly 2 hours and 7 minutes to crack enough boxes. The hostage drama upstairs must last precisely that long. 1 second too short, the vault team gets caught. 1 second too long, police might check the basement. 0 room for mistakes. January 2004. Fernando walks into a Buenos Aires pool hall looking for a man named Ruben Beto de la Torre. This guy had robbed 17 banks with a famous gang throughout the 1980s. He understood vault layouts, police response times, and hostage psychology. He also happened to know Fernando's father from the old neighborhood. Fernando laid out the Banco Rio plan. Beto listened without flinching. 20 million minimum, 0 real weapons, 6 men total. Beto agreed on one condition: he wanted to bring his own partner. That partner turned out to be Luis Mario Vitet, a former military man everyone called the Uruguayan. This guy specialized in controlling crowds through intimidation alone. He had once held 43 hostages for 6 hours without carrying a single weapon. Pure psychological pressure. When Vitet reviewed Fernando's script, he identified every tactical weakness. The fake weapons needed enough weight to feel authentic. The hostages had to believe the danger was real without actually getting hurt. Vitet rewrote entire sections with military precision. Through underground contacts, they found Alberto de Salles. People called him Doc, another veteran from the old bank robbing days who had spent 8 years behind bars perfecting the art of patient planning. Doc insisted on thorough surveillance. For 3 straight months, he photographed every angle of Banco Rio. Employee shift changes at 8:47 in the morning, armored truck arrivals at 2:15 in the afternoon, the manager's smoke breaks at 10:30. He built a minute-by-minute timeline of how this bank operated, and then he discovered something valuable: the golden window. Friday afternoons between 12:30 and 3:30. That's when wealthy clients visited their boxes before weekend trips. That's when vault security relaxed. That's when they would strike. Julian Zalaki came aboard as the getaway driver, a former racing mechanic who used to modify engines for illegal street races until a crash ended his career. Zalaki scouted 17 different escape routes from storm drain exits. He timed police response from every station, 13 minutes from Acasuso, 18 from Santa Isidro. He would wait at a manhole cover 3 blocks away with the engine running. Sebastian, now nicknamed the Engineer, began his underground reconnaissance. He entered storm drains at 2 in the morning, wearing a wetsuit and headlamp. The tunnels reeked of sewage and methane. Rats scattered from his light. The main drainage pipe ran directly beneath the bank vault. 2 feet of reinforced concrete separated him from success. He needed specialized equipment, a pneumatic hammer that operated silently underwater, industrial water pumps, reinforced lumber to prevent cave-ins. The shopping list totaled 50,000 pesos. They funded it by robbing a smaller bank in late 2004. By December 2005, the crew was complete. 6 men driven by different motivations: revenge, money, adrenaline. They rehearsed in an abandoned warehouse, drilling every possible scenario until reaction became instinct. Fernando made them memorize their lines like stage actors, because this was more than a heist. It was a performance that would play on every television screen in Argentina. September 2005. Sebastian descends into the storm drains carrying a waterproof bag of power tools. He's mapped this route 47 times. Tonight, he starts cutting. The pneumatic hammer bites into concrete beneath Banco Rio. Every strike sends vibrations through the pipes. He works in 10-second bursts, then pauses to listen. After 4 hours, he's only penetrated 6 inches. At this rate, breaking through will take 15 separate nights. October brings complications. Heavy rains flood the tunnels. Sebastian installs pumps that run on car batteries. He builds wooden supports to prevent cave-ins, hauling lumber through sewage in complete darkness. One night, methane levels spike so high his detector starts screaming warnings. He retreats and comes back with an oxygen tank. Another night, he encounters a homeless man living in the tunnels. The man runs at the sight of Sebastian's headlamp. The next morning, Sebastian scans newspapers for reports of suspicious activity. There's absolutely zilch, so he continues. Above ground, the crew conducts surveillance with scientific precision. Vitet poses as a customer and opens a checking account just to study the interior layout. He memorizes 13 camera angles and blind spots near the basement stairs. Doc photographs employees and learns their habits. Manager Diego Manzone arrives earliest and leaves latest. Guard Carlos Perez is 58 years old and has yet to draw his weapon during a single monthly drill. They build psychological profiles of every person who will be inside that bank on January 13th. Fernando scripts the dialogue with obsessive detail. Vitet will demand pizza at exactly 2:47 in the afternoon. This absurd request requires approval from multiple commanders. That approval process buys precious minutes. Beto will release one hostage every 20 minutes, maintaining police hope for a peaceful resolution. December 20th, 2005. Sebastian breaks through the final inch of concrete. His headlamp illuminates the vault floor above him. Smooth tiles he's only seen in blueprints until this moment. He photographs the opening and seals it with quick-dry cement. The tunnel is ready. January 11th, 2006. 48 hours before execution, Fernando distributes replica weapons. Plastic pistols weighted with lead. He hands out masks, gloves, and coveralls. They synchronize watches. The weather forecast shows clear skies and 87 degrees. Hot enough that police will avoid heavy armor. Perfect conditions for the performance of their lives. January 13th, 2006. 12:28 in the afternoon. Sebastian enters the storm drain wearing coveralls and carrying an underwater sledgehammer. Behind him, Beto and another crew member wade through knee-deep sewage. They reach the sealed entrance beneath Banco Rio. Sebastian strikes once. The cement plug crumbles. They're inside the vault. Above them, 23 customers and employees go about their regular Friday business, completely unaware that 3 men just materialized below their feet. 3 minutes later, Vitet, Fernando, and Doc walk through the front door dressed as businessmen. Vitet approaches the information desk and asks about opening an account. The moment security guard Carlos Perez turns away, Vitet pulls his replica pistol. His voice carries military authority that makes everyone freeze instantly. Fernando locks the front door. Doc herds customers against the wall. Within 90 seconds, they control the entire bank. By 12:45, police receive the first emergency call. By 12:52, 40 patrol cars surround Banco Rio. By 1:15, 300 officers establish a perimeter. Helicopters circle overhead. Snipers position on rooftops. Inside, Vitet begins his performance. He calls the police, sounding reasonable, almost apologetic. He releases bank teller Marcela Fernandez to show good faith. She emerges crying and tells police the robbers seem nervous but peaceful. Negotiators interpret this as weakness. They are completely wrong. 1:30 in the afternoon. In the vault below, Sebastian's pneumatic ram destroys safe deposit boxes in seconds. Box 73 explodes in a shower of euros. Box 91 contains gold coins dated 1892. Box 156 holds bearer bonds worth $2 million. They work systematically. Left wall, back wall, right wall. Some boxes contain family photos, love letters, and ashes of deceased relatives. These they leave untouched. Other boxes burst with cash so dense it seems fake. One box holds emeralds that scatter across the floor like green stars. They stuff everything valuable into waterproof duffel bags. At 2:47 in the afternoon, Vitet makes his pizza demand. The negotiator actually laughs. Vitet insists on 30 boxes with assorted toppings. The request travels up the chain of command. Everyone laughs at these amateurs demanding food during a siege. They approve the order. At 3:05, delivery drivers approach under police escort. Hostages eat nervously while police psychologists interpret the feast as a positive sign. They have absolutely zero idea what's happening beneath them. 3:27 in the afternoon, Sebastian's team has cracked 143 boxes. The duffel bags bulge with approximately $19 million. Sebastian tapes their message to the wall, and they lower themselves back through the hole. Above, Vitet tells the final lie. "We're coming out, 5 minutes." The tunnel team loads bags onto an inflatable raft and paddles through sewage in total darkness. 3 blocks away, Zaloki waits at manhole cover 47B. One by one, they emerge, soaked, stinking, victorious. At 3:33 in the afternoon, while police still surround Banco Rio, the real robbers have already vanished into traffic. Inside the bank, Vitet leads hostages to the basement conference room, locks them inside, places toy guns by the door, and disappears down the hole. 7:45 in the evening, 4 hours after the last phone call. SWAT teams storm Banco Rio. Flash grenades explode. Officers sweep rooms shouting clear. They find 23 hostages locked in the basement conference room, traumatized but unharmed. Toy guns sit arranged in a neat row. Pizza boxes remain on tables, some still warm. 0 robbers anywhere. Commander Miguel Cleo radios headquarters. The subjects have vanished. Silence on all channels. Then someone asks, "What exactly do you mean by vanished?" 8:15 in the evening. Detectives enter the vault. Safe deposit boxes hang open like screaming mouths. The floor glitters with scattered pearls and torn velvet. A detective kicks aside gold certificate papers, worthless without their bearer bonds. Then he sees the hole, a perfect circle leading into darkness. He aims his flashlight down. The beam disappears into storm drains that stretch for miles beneath Buenos Aires. The note on the wall mocks them. Without weapons or grudges, it's just money. It's about love. Within hours, the story dominates every screen in Argentina. News anchors struggle between outrage and amazement. Bank robbers disappear like ghosts. The heist of the century. Police fooled by pizza and toy guns. Talk show hosts debate whether to condemn or applaud. Callers flood radio stations. Most support the thieves. They robbed the rich without killing anyone. They're heroes. After banks stole billions during the 2001 collapse, many Argentines view this as poetic justice. International media descends on Buenos Aires. Major news networks call it brilliantly audacious. Hostages describe their captors as polite, even entertaining. Maria Cristina, the manager who was dragged to the window, later revealed that Walter actually apologized while using her as a prop. He told her the police needed to see this moment. The toy guns became instant symbols across Argentina. Photographs showed forensics teams carefully bagging children's pistols as evidence. Newspapers ran headlines asking how robbers managed to steal millions using nothing but toys. Police launched Argentina's largest manhunt. Forensic teams vacuum every inch of Banco Rio. They find bleach poured everywhere. The DNA evidence is destroyed. Hair clumps traced to various beauty salons. False clues planted to waste time. The abandoned van contains nothing useful. The tunnel offers 0 fingerprints. Detectives interview 300 witnesses. They analyze 10,000 hours of footage. They chase 1,400 leads. Every trail ends in a dead end. The robbers seem to have genuinely vanished. By February 2006, the investigation stalls. 0 suspects, 0 arrests, 0 progress. Graffiti appears across Buenos Aires. Banco Rio 6, Police 0. T-shirts with toy guns sell out. A cumbia song about the heist tops local charts. The robbers have become folk legends. But in a modest house in Buenos Aires province, something is about to change everything. Alicia Dulio finds $73,000 hidden inside her bedroom wall. Her husband Beto tore open the plaster while she was visiting her mother. He stuffed cash behind insulation and sealed it with fresh drywall. She only discovered it because the paint color doesn't match. This is the 3rd time she's found hidden money. First under floorboards, then inside the water heater. Her house has become a vault. She knows about the heist, everyone does. She knows Beto was involved. What she doesn't know is that he's planning to leave her. Beto tells friends he's moving to Paraguay with his girlfriend, a 23-year-old named Claudia he met at a nightclub. Alicia discovers the affair through text messages. She confronts him. He denies everything, then admits everything, then promises to end it. 3 days later, she follows him to Claudia's apartment. When she pounds on the door screaming, neighbors call police. Officers arrive to find Alicia crying in the hallway. She's shouting about stolen money in Banco Rio. 5 days later, Alicia walks into federal police headquarters. She provides names. Her husband, his friend Vitet, someone called Doc. She describes planning meetings in her kitchen while she served coffee. She overheard tunnel discussions, gun rehearsals, pizza strategies. She knows they used toy weapons because Beto laughed about it for hours afterward. Detectives promise protection for her and her 7-year-old son. In exchange, she gives them everything. March 7, 2006. Pre-dawn raids strike simultaneously across Buenos Aires. Police smash through Beto's door at 4:47 in the morning. They find him sleeping beside $970,000 in cash. He surrenders quietly. Within hours, they arrest Vitet at his mother's house. They capture Doc at his apartment. Subsequent raids bring in Fernando, Sebastian, and Zalaki. The only evidence is Alicia's testimony and the money in Beto's house. The rest of the $19 million remains hidden somewhere. The public reacts with disappointment. Polls show 68% of Argentines wanted them to remain free. Lawyers volunteer to defend them for free. Crowds gather outside the courthouse chanting support. Even hostages express sympathy. Several refuse to testify, saying they were treated well. The prosecutor faces an unusual problem: jury sympathy. These aren't violent criminals who terrorized innocents. They're artists who embarrassed authority. The trial turned into a performance itself. Fernando treated the courtroom like his personal stage, describing the heist as a work of art against financial oppression. Sebastian explained the tunnel engineering with such precision that jurors found themselves laughing. Vitet maintained his military composure throughout, staying completely in character. They admitted what they did. They showed zero shame. When prosecutors asked about the missing millions, Fernando simply smiled and wondered aloud what money they meant, since they only brought toy guns to a bank. The prosecutor faced a fundamental problem. Safe deposit boxes had zero registration. Their contents remained unknown. Box owners wanting to claim losses would have to admit tax evasion first. Sentences ranged from 9 to 15 years. By 2020, all of them walked free. Fernando went on to write a book and sell movie rights. He started giving university lectures on creative resistance. He claimed everyone came out winning. Police got fame. Prosecutors got promotions. The crew got rich. Argentina got entertainment. $17 million remains missing. They robbed a bank with pizza and toys. They vanished in plain sight. They became folk heroes. But Beto lost everything. His wife accomplished what 300 cops couldn't. She made the magicians disappear. Which heist should I cover next?